Hi Libra, this is Jody with Soul Purpose Tarot. I am in Carmel, Indiana. I am a Libra Sun, Capricorn Rising, Sagittarius Moon. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, welcome. What I normally do is let flip a fly or fall anywhere from 5 to 7 tarot cards. Take a look at that. Are we looking at life, love, career, or health? And then clarify with various oracle decks. So the first card that's flipped out is the Seven of Wands. You've been fighting something off. Let's see what we can figure out what you've been fighting off. I feel like I hear a fighting off a cold. I don't know if that's true or not. So there's that Seven of Wands. The next one, Judgment. Fighting off. I feel like I want to say you've been fighting off the fear that Judgment Day is never going to come. So it feels like you're waiting on some sort of rectification, for something to be rectified, for something to be settled. Judgment Day. It's like you've been waiting for that, but you've been fighting off the fear that it's never going to happen. The Wheel of Fortune in the reverse position, the Two of Pentacles in the upright position, the Knight of Wands in the reverse position. So Wheel of Fortune, right at the moment, it feels like you're at the end of a cycle. A cycle has you finished one cycle, but you haven't started it. You're in the gap period between a cycle. So if you're, okay, so if you have had a fear that you are not going to get your Judgment Day or whatever you've been waiting on isn't going to happen, it feels like you're in that in-between. It is coming, it just hasn't come yet. And with the Knight of Wands being in reverse, it's kind of like, to me, that what you've been waiting on is about ready to come. And that's also Two of Pentacles. So maybe this is a case of you have put in your work. You have been working hard, and you are waiting on the Judgment Day to come. And sometimes you get up in your head that you're afraid that all this work you've put in, you're not going to see the happy ending from it. But you're in the in-between. It's like you've just finished up one cycle and you haven't gotten into that point of, like where your money's, you're still kind of in that juggling mode of your money. So it's kind of like maybe you planted a bunch of seeds at work and that hasn't really started showing up just yet. But this is also saying there is about to be some, the forward movement isn't coming yet, but it will be. So it's just a matter of time. It's just kind of a timing thing. It feels like you're just kind of in a pause, in a kind of a stuck space, in between cycles. You've ended something, you're about ready to begin something, but it hasn't really took, it's kind of like, I feel like I'm seeing like the Ferris wheel. And it's like you went up, and they've stopped you at the top. Or a roller coaster. And you're like at the top, you got to the top, but you haven't like shot down the other side yet. And that's coming. It's just, so you're almost like you're stuck at the top of the roller coaster for maintenance. It's like, you're like up, and then all of a sudden it just stopped, and you're like, why aren't we going back down again or whatever? So let me get like one or two more cards. Patience. I feel like I'm hearing this word patience. Patience. In due time, you're going to have everything coming flying at you, and then you're going to wish you had more time on your hands and just chill out. And the Magician, that's like manifesting a lot of stuff. It's just kind of like it's there, but it's not coming just yet. So everything about this at this point in time makes me feel like it is a matter of time before what you have been working towards, whether it is a career, like your business taking off, or if it's a relationship with somebody that you have been working on, and it's just a matter of time before it goes from one cycle to the next. And you're I also just heard and saw like a wash machine like spinning. You just finished one, like the wash cycle, and it stops, and then it starts filling up, and then you get the spin cycle. Well, right now it feels like it's filling up with water. You just finished one cycle, it's filling up with water, and then it's going to start spinning again. And so, okay, well, I have to say that does apply to my life, so that makes sense. Let's see what kind of emotions us Libras are going in. I would say I would be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if impatience or patience. I don't know if that's even in here. I can't remember if those cards are in here or not. So let's see. There's two that just flipped out. Curious and worried. So I feel like the worried part is coming along. Is like worried, like, is this ever going to come? Is this ever going to happen? Is all of this work that I have done ever going to come to fruition? Am I ever going to see my happy ending? But then there's the days on the days where you're like, yes, this is going to work out. Well, angry in the reverse position. So you're not angry about anything anymore. I think there was a time when you were angry that this was taking so long. You're not angry about it anymore. Now it's more like a curious kind of a feeling of, wonder how this is going to play out, So there is a little bit of a calm but impatient feeling. It's kind of like, you've done your work. You've put your order in. You're waiting on your food at the restaurant. You're just sitting there waiting. You've put the order in. You're waiting. That's the period that you're in right now. It's just like this waiting period, kind of like twiddling your thumbs or something of like, all right, when's somebody going to give me something to do? When am I going to be made to be put into action or whatever? Nope. Let's see. What else are emotions that we are feeling? Whoops. Trapped. That would be because I feel like you're like, I can't move forward on anything, and it's like you're just, again, you're waiting. You're like waiting for something to happen. And at the moment, you just feel kind of trapped. It's like, I can't move to this next phase of my life until blah, blah, blah happens. And so it's kind of like you feel like you're like, I can't move forward until something happens. You can't, rinse the clothes until the wash machine fills up with water. And it's that same thing. It's kind of like, you're not going anywhere because we're not finished yet. But what other emotions are you feeling? Fulfilled. Okay, well, that's good if you're feeling fulfilled and satisfied, self-actualization and at peace. So that's good. If you're feeling at peace about where you're at, I think you can feel impatient and feel at peace at the same time. Kind of like, I'm at peace with where I'm at this, but a little anxious and excited for the next phase to happen. I think you can have both of those at the same time. Let me get one more. What else are you feeling at the moment? Relieved in the reverse. Well, let's just say if one day you're feeling peace, then the next day you're not feeling peace. So I would say there is, actually, that is kind of, if you're in that waiting period of time before the next phase happens or the next cycle happens or whatever, it also feels like kind of like you've made a decision to, like you're buying a new house and you're in that escrow period where you've made the offer on the house and everything else is happening in between, but you can't move into the house yet because you haven't got all that other stuff done. You're just kind of in that waiting period for everybody else to do their thing. So there's like that time gap of 30 or 45 days or however long from the time you make the offer until the time you close, because you can't like physically move into the house. And that's when like the next cycle starts. So it feels like, but you go through that back and forth of like going, oh my God, will this hurry up? And, oh, you know, whatever feelings that go along with that, and feeling a little powerless because other people have a little bit of control about this next, you know, if you're waiting on other people to do their portion of whatever the next cycle is, that can kind of feel powerless at times. I don't like feeling powerless, but you know, I think the universe likes to put us in those positions a lot to test us. So let's see if there's any blocks that we have right at the moment that we can clear out, or maybe some blocks or lessons or whatever that the universe is throwing at us during this waiting period. That, I feel like I want that. Contemplation. So that to me just means like rest and relaxation and just kind of think and plan and process. Contemplation is not a place of action. Contemplation is a place of receiving. So basically we are in receiving mode right at the moment. We are not in action mode. We are in receiving mode. Receiving downloads, receiving information from divine, receiving the next section of the journey, information about that. It's like I feel like I want to say a mental growing period of time. It's not a physical action period of time. It is like a mental growing, you know, like you might be planting seeds in your brain for the next phase, but it's like you bought the seeds, but they haven't showed up yet. Self-worth. So some self-worth issues may be cropping up in this period of waiting that you need to look into. And barrier, I always see that as like you still maybe got some heart blockages, and maybe could be worried that this is going to fall through, waiting on the other shoe to drop. Fear that this next phase isn't going to work out the way you hope it would. And, you know, and we all have self-worth issues. So if you do, don't beat yourself up. I want that one. Nostalgia. I feel like I want to say thinking that the way things are in the past are the way the things they are going to be in the future. And I feel like that's maybe where sometimes you get all up in your head of in the past, things blew up in my face. In the past, I got excited and I got let down. And there's some of that nostalgia and fear about how things worked out in the past that might be coming up, and that could be cropping up and causing you a little bit of grief at the moment. What else is going on? Lessons or blocks that are going to be cropping up during this waiting period. Action. That's a block. Yeah, that's a block, all right. It's because you can't, you aren't allowed to really go into major action at this point in time. It's kind of like you're being intuitively held in place. Like, nope, you can't do anything. You just kind of need to let some stuff fall into place and let everything just get itself lined up, and then we'll let you know when it's time to move forward. Cycles. See, that's what this whole thing's been about. That's a block for you. And I feel like impatience, it's like cycles have a timing. You cannot hurry up a cycle. That's divine timing is a cycle, you know. It's like sometimes there are 10-year cycles. I mean, Sometimes the cycle is a year, sometimes they're 10 years. It's like you've just finished up a cycle and it's not time to start the next one yet. And the cycle, this cycle of being in a, waiting period is probably a cycle too. And it's just like you got to wait for that to finish up. And then, like I said, I just keep seeing and hearing like a wash machine, like the water filling up. That's exactly what, like the water's filling up in the wash machine right now. You've got to wait for that to fill up, and then the spin cycle is going to hit. So, okay, well, I hear you, universe, loud and clear. So let's see what else they have to say about this portion of the waiting period. Holding pattern, in a holding pattern, I think is what I'll name this. Oops. Energy flows where my intention goes. So I would say keep your energy on what's coming. Keep it out of fear. Don't be thinking a lot about, oh my God, what's happened in the past. Last time this happened, and it wasn't good. Don't be going there. The moment I realign with love, clear direction is presented to me. Maybe you're out of alignment. I feel like self-worth, the barrier, heart chakras, going back into fear, thinking about how things used to be that when they didn't work out. I feel like those three things are where you get yourself out of alignment. And you need to get back into realignment. And that might speed up the process of this. I just said you can't speed up a process of a cycle. Never mind. I changed my mind. They're like, nope. You cannot speed up a cycle. But I think you can get in vibrational alignment. I honor how I want to feel. I want to feel happy. I don't want to feel sad. My energy creates my reality. What I focus on is what I will manifest. So to me, a lot of this has to do with making sure that so if you're in between cycles, making sure you are not focused on the past and that energy from the past, and focusing on what is coming and where you want it to be. You don't want to take the past with you on this next journey. So you need to make sure you don't take the past with you on this next journey. One last card. My capacity to tune into the energy of love gives me the words I need when I'm ready to speak up, the compassion I need when it's time to forgive, and the power I need when I am lost. So to me, that is when you find yourself in that feeling maybe some self-worth issues coming up, feeling like your heart chakra's blocked, feeling like you're in fear mode or whatever, when you're going into that stuff from the past, you need to think about that. My capacity to tune in to the energy of love gives me the words I need when I am ready to speak up, the compassion I need when it's time to forgive, and the power I need when I am lost. Alrighty, I am finished. I will see you guys for the 1st of July reading, and we'll see if our new cycle has started by then. Thanks. Bye.